Thanks for watching this portion of Garage Logic today on our YouTube channel, and hit the subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. And also thanks to our friends at Everest Men's Health for sponsoring this. Go to everestmenshealth.com today to see if they can help you with better energy and better health. And catch the Garage Logic podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Now? No. a lot of emailers think that we've broken our political jinx.
Oh, hold on.
Well, even Paul
Dana,
the school board candidate in Miami, we had him on at great risk to him.
Yes.
He won.
Great risk to him. Great risk.
Letitia Vitaw beat Philippe Cunningham. We didn't have her on, but we played that wonderful audio clip of her calling him out. Come on now. And who's this guy? Larry writes, "Happy morning, Joe. You may have to shed your image as it relates to elections. Yes, for Minneapolis was voted down. The strong mayor was voted for, and the mayor you would settle for happened to win as well. Could this be a new day?" Larry from Hudson. Yes. And who does this say? Another Larry, trifecta. Joe, I forgot. Oh, this is, where in the hell's his? Here's a guy who emailed us about the election from Uganda.
What?
Yeah. Uganda.
Or was it an alias, like a lot of people like to sign off with?
Idi Amin, right?
No, it was Larry congratulating us on breaking the jinx, and then he sent a second email that said, "I forgot to mention that I'm sending this from northern Uganda. Garage Logic is truly a global phenomenon."
Cool.
Oh, that Larry. The Larry I just read from Hudson. You may have to shed your image as it relates to elections. Yes, for Minneapolis was voted down. The strong mayor was voted in, and the mayor you would settle for happened to win. Could this be a new day? Larry from Hudson. And then a second email, "I forgot to mention that I'm sending this email from northern Uganda."
It was a two-email deal. Yeah. I got you.
That confuses me.
It sometimes does.
Sometimes I staple
Try to make
those
sense
together.
today, Such. I've had a lot of coffee, and I'm about 80 steps in front of you. So try to make some sense today.
You may now play for the final time, and it probably should be delivered with some sort of fanfare.
Did you ever think common sense would be this much fun?
That's not it.
Joe Souchere.
Some people go by there.
No,
and
that's not it. No.
You know, normally I would bail him out.
Joe Souchere.
No, that's not it. That's my friend HW. Thank you. Thank you, George. This is Philippe Cunningham. This incompetent fool has been defeated.
The police chief's role is to be able to have a vision of what it means for us to have a strong focus on what should police be focusing on.
Now, who's going to tell us what the role of the police chief is? We've lost the definer.
Oh, that's true.
But you can't keep that. That must be now retired forever.
Well, quick question.
Maybe the police chief will tell us?
Maybe, yeah.
So,
a good idea.
You said I have to get rid of that one.
Yeah.
Do I get to keep this?
You have to actually be getting the right kinds of resources to solve the issues.
I forgot about
and the
this
National Guard is not that resource that's going to get us there. Where can we think creatively? We truly cannot wait until we backfill the officers that we've lost. It takes a lot of months for
Get
us
rid of
to
that
be
one,
able
too.
Oh, I got to get rid of both of
Yeah,
them.
just we don't want any part of this guy anymore. This is it. He's done.
I will say this though, and Johnny, you can attest because I was up late watching the ball game and texting my guy Height, and you know I was celebrating.
Sure,
it's the final day of baseball.
I was active on the Twitter.
John and I get a little emotional when it's the last day of baseball, and I showed great restraint last night on social media because Philippe has a pinned tweet that says, "Don't forget to join us on the election night party."
Yeah.
Where he just basically figured he was going to win,
right?
And I did retweet that and just said, "What time's the party?" or "Where's the party?" Like
where's the party?
And it cannot be pronounced that Jeremiah Ellison has won in Ward 5. He has not achieved 50% of the results yet. So I think there is a sadder story or more disappointing story, despite the happy news. The turnout in St. Paul was ridiculously low.
Yeah, what was your number that you?
Melvin Carter got 36,000 votes, and the closest to him was Dino Guerin with 7,000 votes. I mean, that's 250,000 people in that city, and 50,000 people voted when you add up all the ranked choices for mayor.
Wow,
that's a disappointment. we knew deep down, I think, that Carter was going to win handily, and he certainly did. But congratulations to those guys who put their effort where their mouth was. Osco and Guerin and Langfeld and the rest of them, they tried to do the right thing and ran strong campaigns, but they're walking uphill in this town. It's a very, very liberal political machine, and they did their best. But St. Paul now has Carter for another 4 years. St. Paul now has the strictest rent control in the country. But how about Minneapolis, where the voter turnout was handsome? Voted no on the charter amendment to replace the police department, but it's amazing to think that 43% voted yes on that. 43%.
Yeah.
And they also voted to examine rent control. But
not that I want to pour cold water on what is a pretty happy here in GL, but one thought occurred to me as I was driving in today. Yes, it didn't get passed last night, thank God. But doesn't this mean we're going to have to go through it again next year?
I do believe this will not go away.
Because that's the same thing I'm thinking.
From a trusted source. I never know if he wants his name used or not.
I don't think he does.
Okay. I will read it to you then. And when I say trusted source, I really mean it.
Hey, my email's on.
Might be time to dig into these reports and who funded the vote yes. Beyond Soros, MoveOn.org, Sierra Club, ACLU, etc. They wasted a lot of money in Minneapolis. And that will sit like a fever with these people, that they were so defeated. And I believe the method to their madness is to continue this. I really believe that.
Yeah.
And which would be a crying shame to have to go through this again, but I predict you will.
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind.
And it's driven by this ideology I've defined as wishing to decriminalize behavior and replacing it with the term behaviors brought about by necessity.
And the failure with their line of logic is, and I know I mentioned this earlier, but they assume social workers want to be involved with this crap.
But the population, enough of the population spoke up and said, when we need a policeman, we need a policeman. I don't want a social worker at my door.
Right.
Enough of the people to preserve the police department. Presumably that preserves Arredondo's job. Now you got a strong air situation, which I think will help a great deal in Minneapolis. You have to have that city council return to doing what they should be doing, and that's legislating pothole filling and snow plowing and repairing streetlights and cutting the grass and what have you, and get them out of the policy business because they're all not qualified to develop policy. And I think the mayor will now have a stronger role with the police department. And I think these are all good things. I think that, again, there are people who are being hyperbolic about what happened in the nation yesterday, and they believe that it was a major league attack on defeating wokeism in this country. You had Youngkin win the governor's race in Virginia. New Jersey's too close to call. Eric Adams won mayor of New York. A fascinating woman is lieutenant governor in Virginia. Her name is Winsome. She's got the coolest name. Winsome Sears. Winsome Sears. She's a former Marine Corps member. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was Jamaican, but this country has done so much for me. I was willing to die for this country. Sears said during her victory speech early this morning. If you haven't noticed, I'm black, and I have been black all my life, but that's not what this is about. What we are going to do now is be about the business of the Commonwealth. We have things to tend to. We are going to fully fund our historically black colleges and universities. We're going to have safer neighborhoods, safe communities, and our children are going to get a good education. Sears entered the U.S. from Jamaica as a child. She was the director of a Salvation Army homeless shelter prior to entering politics. She also owns an appliance and plumbing repair store in Virginia. So she actually has had to fill out a payroll and talk to people about jobs. And she served a single term in Virginia's House of Delegates from 2002 to 2004. And her 2021 run marked her return to politics. And
she's the definition of the American dream.
Well, she's Kendall Qualls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you see interviews with her, she seems to be the one who should be a star, and I use that word weirdly, with politics because she's a straight shooter.
Yep.
She's got great ideas, and I think she'll be the one that comes out of this.
Does she have the
whole
cool
election.
Jamaican accent, or is she Americanized?
I think she's pretty American.
So,
pretty Americanized.
are you alluding to maybe a run on a national level, John?
I think it's
Is that possible? Is that possible for a presidential candidate?
I don't think. Is it? If you're born in Jamaica?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, I don't think you can.
You're right. You have to be native born.
So,
But
a question
you
for
can be
you
a
guys.
senator or whatever.
Back to the local races. Any other defeats in the Minneapolis City Council?
Well, Ellison hasn't been determined yet. No, I think those are the only two, correct?
We had. Here, I have it right here.
Cam
Sorry.
Gordon has not been declared yet.
It looks like Cam Gordon, he's behind two people, so depending on how the
Good.
the
That's
ranked
good.
voting goes for that.
Challenger
Needs-
Emily Koski held a wide lead Tuesday over incumbent Jeremy Schroeder.
She has been declared the winner, almost
Good.
60% of the vote.
That's good. Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
if not happy days, as I noted, at least some common sense days appear to have returned.
But we were right. I think enough people woke up and said, "What the hell are we doing here?"
Well, people don't like to be told by the AOCs of the world what they are and what they should think, and it's just there's a nice piece. I know it's CNN, but it's indicative of what has had to take place. CNN has a brilliant analysis of this. I find that difficult to believe, but it's a great analysis, including the likes of Van Jones saying, "You Democrats, you're deaf again. You're deaf. You don't understand the mood of the country." And that's, remember Barry Weiss, of the New York Times, finally, in exasperation, leaving the New York Times because she said, "You people don't even have a clue why Donald Trump won in 2016.
Right.
You don't have a clue.
Right.
You've lost complete sight of this." And well, they're facing a reckoning. And I think this Youngkin did the right thing. He could be important to the creation of a Republican Party that makes sense. Not these fruitcakes that stood at Dealey Plaza yesterday and thought JFK was going to make a comeback. What? That's mass insanity.
Hey, JFK Jr. Let's
Make
be-
a comeback. No, and he did this without Trump. He did this without Trump, and that converted a lot of voters to his thinking. Trump endorsed him. I suppose Youngkin could have said, "I don't want your endorsement," but he took it. I don't think it meant much, because what really meant a great deal is that he didn't campaign with Trump.
No.
He didn't want Trump on the bus with him. And
Did you,
I think that.
Did
Go
you
ahead.
see Trump this morning? What
No.
he said?
No.
If he hadn't come out to back him in the last few days, he would have lost by 15 points.
Oh, well, no, Don, you weren't much help, Don. And what Youngkin proved is that you don't need this buffoon to win the hearts of
Joe, we're
voters.
having such a good day. Why'd you have to
Enjoy
do
those
this?
emails, Mr. Reavers.
Yeah, Joe.
All right, let's just say this. Let's just say this.
Please.
Because here's the problem.
I'm just.
And a bit of the problem was tackled yesterday across the nation. Really, what we have is four parties. And we got to get back to two.
Yes.
Where's the party?
Nope.
You've got the extreme left,
Yep.
and you've got the likes of Joe Manchin holding on to a centrist Democratic Party. Then you've got the Dealey Plaza cases and QAnon nutcases, and you have the likes of Youngkin saying that isn't needed to win. So you've got extreme rights and extreme lefts. And what needs to be recovered is the sensible Republican Party and the sensible Democratic Party. And I think some inroads were made in that last night. And the Democrats. So when I say the Democrats need a reckoning, it's their extremist wing that needs a reckoning. Same with the Republicans. You're extreme. You don't need a reckoning when you've just proven you can do this without the misguided right-wing aspect of this. Right. You don't need it. And so some sensible days have returned. Some sensible days have returned.
For now.
Exactly, John, you beat me to it.
For now, you're right.
Sorry.
For now.
Sorry.
In Virginia, Youngkin did exactly what he set out to do. He secured huge turnout in rural conservative areas while avoiding alienating the kind of suburban voters who were turned off by Trump, a factor that helped cost the GOP control of the House in 2018 and the Senate and White House in 2020. While sending coded messages to Trump's base on election integrity, race, and transgender rights, the polished Youngkin didn't define his bid on Trump's voter fraud lies or adopt the polarizing autocratic fury regularly displayed by the president. And Trump, while continually injecting himself in the race, including on Tuesday night to claim credit for the win, largely kept out of Youngkin's way. He held a tally rally on the eve of the vote, but did not travel to Virginia, for instance, after his frenzied rally in Georgia was blamed by some in the GOP for the loss to Senate runoff races. That party needs to learn to live without Trump, and the Democrats need to learn to live without the Sanders wing.
Quick question. John, I thought I saw a headline, and I know you'll find this shocking. I just saw the headline, and I didn't read the story. Was there a Virginia Democrat that was caught tampering?
I'm unaware of that.
There was a Fox story because I'll try to see if I can find it.
Before we get too far away from what you just said, we need to worry about who's sitting in the vice presidency, Joe. They're already in the White House, the Bernie Sanders wing, so to speak.
Right, but the American public is giving signs of rejecting that. This was a huge blow to Biden to have Youngkin win.
Yeah.
Biden won Virginia by 10 points.
All right, here we go. Fox News obtained video footage of Democratic Virginia delegate Chris Hurst getting pulled over by police after Hurst and another person were seen tampering with campaign signs outside a voting site less than 24 hours before Election Day.
Well,
so I just wanted to make that clear.
Right. Steve from Woodbridge, Joe's election jinx is over. Hey, Mayor, it looks like your jinx of election candidates has ended. Paul Dono won the school board race in Matamidi. Good morning, Joe. This is from Sanibel Jim. We have a bit of light on the horizon. For Minneapolis, not so in St. Paul. The fast-moving downward spiral of Minneapolis may have been slowed yesterday. St. Paul will continue with an anti-police administration. Well, it's not as anti-police as it was in Minneapolis, which resulted in the charter defeat. So the good, at least two complete morons in the Minneapolis City Council were defeated. The Minneapolis City Charter will not be assaulted. And the best of all, the left appears to have been repudiated almost across the board in the U.S. The bad, Mayor Carter remains. Rent control will rule in both cities. And the outstanding chief of police will be leading. So we might have hope, Joe, just a glimmer, but maybe, Sanibel Jim.
There are two other incumbent Minneapolis City Council folks who are down, but obviously they have to do the second day stuff. And I'm not familiar enough to know Kevin Reich or Rich. He is losing by 6 percentage points to Elliot Payne. And in Ward 3, Steve Fletcher, who's been around forever, is trailing Michael Rainville by 6 points. Now, both those challengers are also DFLers, so who knows? They may be.
We might regret.
Yeah, it might be just
well, and DFLers only run against DFLers if the incumbent isn't left enough.
Correct.
Exactly.
Reich is Ward 1, which we don't hear a lot about, just south of Columbia Heights, northeast area.
Hey, by the way,
right?
I don't know if you guys saw this, but I tweeted this last night. So I'm watching Fox 9. I think it was the 6 o'clock newscast. And Paul Bloom, did you see this, John?
I saw your tweet.
So Paul Bloom, who's one of the best reporters in town, he's standing outside of the government center in downtown Minneapolis talking about the ballot question, right? About how, anyway, as he's doing this, a car blows right through a red light. And I put it on Twitter, and Paul said, "Oh my God, good catch, Reeves. I didn't even notice that."